Hi everybody, welcome back to Pavo Plays, and today I'm going to be just doing a quick rules video on Lawyer Up. Uh, Thanks to a person that sent me this game. It's a two-player card game. I was quite surprised when I received it in the mail, so thank you very much. Here's a quick review, well, not really a review, but just a rules overview. I've seen a couple of videos online, but they only gave the rule overview to the first case, which is the murder case. But when I was learning the game, I wanted to find a rules review of the starter case, the case that tells you the first case you should play whenever you start the game. Couldn't find it. Needed to look through the rule book and then watch the murder case before I got familiar. So I thought I will be doing a review for those of you who need to learn how to play from the very start, which is case 0. Alright, so Lawyer Up is a two-player card game between the prosecution and the defense. One player takes the prosecution, the other player takes the defense, and you're all about trying to solve a case. So the entire game is based around a case. The box comes with two cases. One is the art, what do you call that? The art theft or art forgery case, and the other one is the murder mystery case. The murder mystery case is in this case really the bulk of the game, but the art decor case is quite a good start. Now, even the art deco case, there are various variations you can play. I'll be going through the rules for the starter game, which is opening statements, for the art forgery case. Okay, so to win the game, it depends on the case. So each case has a different way to win. So in this case, you win after the game ends after all key witnesses have been called, and then whoever claims the most jurors wins the game. Right, now let's get into it. To set up the game comes with 12 juror cards from two sets from 1 to 6. You lay them out in a row like this. You evenly distribute the bias tokens. These are bias tokens. There are 6 different types of bias tokens. So you evenly distribute so that there is one of each on this row and one of each on this row. Okay, and those on one row, they have to be on the closest red color circle, and the other row they have to be on the closest blue color circle. That's the defense. So if a bias token is on a blue circle, it means it's swayed towards the defense. If the bias token is on a red circle, it's swayed toward the prosecution. Okay, at the end of the game, whoever has the most bias on their side wins the game. That's for this art forgery case. Okay, you also set up the witnesses. Now the witnesses are based on the case. So the short case sets up these 6 people, and they are here. Okay, the witness has a couple of different things that you have to take note of. Firstly is they have a value here that adds to the defense or the prosecution side. Okay, so this one adds 3 to the prosecution, this one adds 3 to defense. Okay, witnesses also have a couple of icons, bias icons that are associated with them. All right, so whenever a witness is called, I'll explain all this in a minute. Whenever a witness is called, it adds the point value to that side. So for example, if I'm the defense and I call this witness, it gives me 3 to my defense style. All right, and of course if it's the prosecution, it gives him 0 because he's not the defense, so he gets 0. All right, so the game is played over a couple of turns. Each round, one player will call a witness, and then we'll take turns back and forth playing cards to build up our case for or against this witness. So all cards are in a way vaguely similar. They all have similar attributes. They all have a number in the top which will add to their value. So these are the prosecution cards, they are neutral cards as well, and we have the defense cards. Okay, so whenever you play a card, the condition is that the card played must match the bias icons on a previously played card or on the witness card if there are no previously played card. So if I were to play this here, yes I can, it gives me 0, but then whenever I play a card, I look at the examine ability, and that will trigger. So this one gives me 2 value for each I don't know what's this heart card. So automatically this one gets 2 already. Okay. So that's playing a card called the examination phase, or the examine the witness. All right, that's the setup. Sorry, I digressed a bit into the rules, but the setup is like that. Have your jurors out, 2 rows, put out the bias tokens, 1 on each juror. Make sure that the left row and the right row have unique bias tokens. Okay, set up your witness according to the card. Give each player their deck. So prosecution gets their prosecution deck, defense gets their defense deck. Set the judge to favoring the prosecution. That's how the game always starts. Judges always favor the prosecution. Everybody's style goes to 0. Then give each player 3 objection tokens and 1 sidebar tokens. Alright, and then you're ready to play the game. Each game comes with a specific deck of cards. Okay, so for example, this one comes with case 00 cards. So this whole deck has got cards for case 00. You'll shuffle this, lay it to the side, and that's the setup. Setup complete. Alright, so the game starts with a discovery phase where both players take turns to so-called discover new evidence and give their opponent some evidence to work with. How this works is, from the deck of cards that was set aside for the case, everybody draws 3, or not everybody, each player draws 3 cards. Oops, I drew 1 too many. From the 3 cards, you pick 1 to add to your deck. So if I'm the prosecution, I'll probably pick this one. Pick 1 to give to an opponent and 1 to bury. So cards that you bury are treated as buried evidence for other card effects. Okay, so I'm going to bury this card and give this card to my opponent. So the opponent will do the same. I'm just going to randomize 1 for him, 1 for me, and 1 bury. Okay, so we will continue like this until the entire deck of case cards have been exhausted. Okay, so this will leave about, I think if you're playing the first game, it will have about 8 cards in the buried evidence, 11 cards to the prosecution, and 11 cards to the defense. Alright, so once that's done, you'll shuffle up your deck. I won't shuffle that one in. So you shuffle your deck, everybody shuffles their deck, and then draw 5 cards. Okay, and that's the start. I keep drawing extra. Sorry, draw 5 cards, and that's the end of the discovery phase. Now, if your 5 cards does not have a procedure, mine does, if it doesn't have a procedure, you can take a mulligan, discarding any number of cards to your discard pile and draw it back up to 5. Okay. So mine has a procedure, I'm good to go. Alright, so that's the end of the discovery phase. Then we come into the trial phase. In the trial phase, whoever has the judge's favor, so in this case it's the prosecution, gets to call a witness. Okay, I can call any of these witnesses here. Okay. Obviously, I want to call somebody that helps the prosecution, so I'll probably call her. When you call a witness, each witness has a called effect. Some of them do, some of them don't. Those have a called effect. Straight away, you do that particular effect. So in this case, it's sway one bias. Swaying a bias is simply moving a token from one jury card 1 space towards your side. Yeah, that's swaying a bias. Okay. So after that, you place the witness in the middle of the table, and you add points equal to the influence value shown on the card. So in this case, the prosecution adds 4 points, but the defense adds 0 because defense is not the prosecution. Right? And then we start. So now, during your turn, you can do 1 of up to 5 different actions. Okay, the first one, like I mentioned earlier, is to play a card into the into your examination. So you're questioning the witness and you play a card that into your examination area. Okay, the card played, one of the icons on the played card must match the existing card that is face up here, or if there's no cards here, one of the icons on the victim. Not victim, sorry, the witness. Okay, so for example, I'm going to be playing the let's just play Impassionate Plea. Okay, so Impassionate Plea has I can't play Impassionate Plea. What am I talking about? Temporary evidence. I can temporary evidence because I've got this investigation magnifying glass icon, and that matches. I'll play that. That gives me 2. Okay, and then I check to see if the card has an examine ability. It does. So if I do, straight away I'll take the effect. If the top card of your opponent's examination is evidence, discard it. He doesn't have any, so that's fine. Right? Some cards will have a victory ability here. Now this is only in effect if at the end of the round this card is still the top card of that examination pile. Okay. Now that's questioning a witness, playing a card from hand. The other thing you can do is you can play a procedure to your play area. Procedures act in a way like a wild card for examination. So if I wanted to during the play card, I could play this here to give me a wild ability, or I could play this to my play area, which is at my side area here, okay, as a procedure, and I leave it there, nothing happens. That's my action. Okay. So the third thing you can do is to activate an already played procedure in play. So I do that, I activate this, I check out the action. So in this case, I have the judge's favor, claim the current witness and replace it with the top card of the witness deck. So then loses the judge's favor. Yeah. So you carry out the action on whatever procedure card that you have played previously. That's another thing you can do. That's the third action. The fourth action is to use your sidebar token. Okay, you can only use your sidebar token once per witness. Okay, so to use the sidebar token, you just flip it or remove it, draw a card, okay, and then the judge's favor flips over to the opposite side. Okay, that's sidebar. So once again, the four, and of course the fifth action is to just pass. And if you pass, you cannot come back and play again. So you do one action, the opponent does one action, and it goes back and forth until both players pass in concession. Okay, so to recap the 5 different actions you can take. Firstly, to play a card, questioning the witness. This must match one of the currently icons either on the witness card if there are no cards in the examination pool, or the previously played examination card. Okay, adding up your values to your prosecution or defense values. Second action, playing a procedure card to your play area. Third thing you can do, execute the action ability on a procedure card. Okay, and the fourth thing is to sidebar. Flip your sidebar token, draw a card, and flip the judge's favor. Alright. Once so I'll explain this later. So at the end of once both players have passed, we then see who has the most influence for that particular witness, and the player claims that witness and does whatever the victory on the witness is, as well as the victory of any face up cards that they have played. Face up meaning the topmost card of the examination pile. Once that is done, you then compare the values of the winner against the loser. Okay? And that's how much influence you can sway the jury. So for example, if my defense had 2 and I had a 9, for example, I won with a 9 and defense had a 2, that's a difference of 7. I can then use these 7 points to sway the jurors. How much it costs to sway the jurors will be their values here. So I have 7, for example. I could sway juror number 4 because he costs 4, down 1, and 3, 1. Or I could sway 5 and 2. I mean, it's up to me how I want to do that. Obviously, the 6s are the most hardest to sway. Okay? If there's an ability that says sway, you don't have to pay influence. You just sway it one up there. Alright. Okay, objection tokens. You have 3 objection tokens that you can use in the entire game. You can only object 3 times and once per witness. Okay. Objection tokens, when you do an objection, if your opponent has just played an argument card, okay, if your opponent has just played an argument card, you can use an objection to just nullify that card and send it to the discard pile. That's all. It's basically a one-off counterspell to whatever argument the opponent plays. But you can only use it once per witness and 3 times in the entire case. Right, so it goes back and forth that way until the end of the game. So in the short game, the game ends after all witnesses have been claimed, or when somebody has no cards remaining in their deck. Okay? And once that happens, you will see who has the most number of jurors swayed to their side wins the game. In case of a tie, the player with the most claimed witnesses wins the game. Right? And that's how you play Lawyer Up. A fairly simple game. I haven't played it myself. I have a couple of questions about the solo play, but I guess I will do a solo play run through after I've narrowed down the rules for that. Alright, so yeah, quick gameplay video, quick rules overview video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like my videos, please like, share and subscribe. Leave a note in the comments if you think I've explained anything wrongly. And yep, and I hope to see you again and next time when I try this Lawyer Up in solo mode. Till then, stay safe.